Welcome to the very first podcast of Texas Strong. Well, you're probably asking yourself, what is Texas Strong? Well, let me just tell you, Texas Strong is a movement. It is not just a TV show. It is not just a social media page. It is not just a digital show. It is a movement. And if you stick around long enough, you're going to find out exactly what I'm talking about. But without further ado, my name is Brandon Houston. Alongside me, my main compadre, Keith Rand, who some of you probably already know. If you don't, you must have been living under a rock, because I think everybody knows who Keith Rand is. But before I hand this bad boy over to him, let him talk a little bit about who we are, and what we got going and what we got coming. I just want to make one thing very clear. This is the Texas Strong podcast, so we are going to emphasize Texas. We are not correct on everything that we say. We may not be politically correct. This is our opinion. As you can see, old Big Daddy over there is got the big bug eyes because, hey, we're not perfect. We don't claim to be perfect. We just may not have any filter at certain times. We're not going to scream and shout at the top of our lungs our political views. But by God, the one thing we will scream and shout at the top of our lungs is that we live in the best state in the United States, baby. We fly our flag and we stand proud where we are. But we will have many, many people in here that I think most people in Texas are going to know. You may never know who's on here. Hell, we may have Matthew McConaughey on here. We may have Parker McCollum. We may have Bull Riders. We may have, we may have anybody on here. But I promise you one thing, we're going to give all the love we can to Texas. And we're going to give a little bit of love to old Mexico as well, which you'll find out why we talk about that. But I'm going to shut up. Keith's going to talk a little bit more. He's going to tell you a little bit more who we are. So there you go, Big Daddy. She's all yours.
Man, thanks for having me, Brandon, and I'm glad to be part of this deal. Brandon brought this idea to me, I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago, and we talked and visited. And, I've been on outdoor television before and wasn't real keen and excited to start a new one. But, we started racking our brains and putting some stuff together to try to set us apart from, standard television and standard outdoor stuff. And, we both have our hands on a lot of the things. We're both businessmen. We both have strong family ties and to certain other industries. So what we figured was, we're from Texas. We are Texas. And so we're going to do a little bit of everything, from these podcasts right here to obviously our outdoor television show that Brandon's got kicked off. And then we're going to do some YouTube series that are going to be really, really cool. We can't really talk about that much because we got some stuff in the works. And then the social media stuff that we've got to do. I'm 46 years old, and I never thought I'd be walking around with my cell phone taking selfies, videos, and all that stuff, talking about Texas. But here we are, gonna be good. From hunting, obviously, to farm and ranch. Partnered up with Texas Real Estate and Texas Ranch Sales and the real estate side of things. We're going to do some really cool things with them. From the hunting industry to the farm and ranch side of it to the cattle industry. I've got a cousin that's got an exciting new project that's on the forefront, and we're going to include him on some stuff. It's a way to market cattle and equipment and all kinds of other things nationwide. So a lot of cool things that we're going to talk about outside of hunting, life in general, and just living a Texas dream, which we love, and we're proud to be a part of it. And I sure thank you, Brandon, for bringing me on.
Man, I wouldn't want to do it with anybody else. To me, like I said, we live in the greatest state in the United States, and I'm very, very proud to be a Texan. I could not imagine being anywhere else. That's not to discredit any other state. There's some, Oklahoma's a beautiful state, and Wyoming, Montana. I mean, they all got their beauties, but Texas is unique in its own way, as everybody knows. One of the things that when we started talking, Keith, that we said we wanted to really emphasize was that camaraderie, that brotherhood. The biggest difference between us, and I think there are a lot of shows that are out there, talking about the show side. That is what we do, but it's not, like I said, it's not the only thing that we do, but is showing more than just the hunt, right? Because that's a small fraction of what we do when those cameras are rolling. There's a lot of work that goes into, every ranch, from the stuff we have out west to the South Texas, all the way down to Mexico. There's a lot of hands involved in that. There's a lot of stuff, and we get to talk a lot about one of the things that we also love a lot, that both of us are very well experienced in. Of course, as you can tell from my beard versus Keith, he's a little bit more seasoned than I am, is the wildlife side. We probably going to ruffle some feathers, but that's okay. That's when you get into some of that, there's opinions that go into there, and there's some things that work here that may not work for you. There's things that are done in South Texas that don't work in Western Texas. There's things in Western Texas that don't work for the guys, that are in the piney woods, or the guys that are in the hill country, the post oak regions, or whatever it may be. But we're going to talk about it, and then we're going to have some fellers on here that come from different areas of Texas to talk about it. We're gonna kick and squall about TPWD, but that's the nature of the beast. God forbid we say that 3-letter word, but CWD, and it's a topic, and we're going to talk about it. The wildlife management side of it, that's the part that I love the most. That's one of the things that we've spent a tremendous amount of time talking about, especially here recently. We're just off of sweating our tails off for injunction on an axis hunt we filmed a show at, and had one hell of a time with a group of guys that in my opinion they're the best guys to be in camp with. Some of those guys, Keith, you grew up with since you were a little kid, and that's what this is about. From the podcast to the show to everything, is that fellowship that takes place, the bonds and the friendships that are created, whether it's driving down the road, checking cattle, or driving down the road from one gate to another, checking feeders and checking, plots that we've plowed, to whatever it is. It's just being who we are. I'm not in some stage studio. Keith's not in some stage studio. We don't have some producer standing over our shoulder, even though he is full-time working for us as an employee. He can only slap us so long and filter us so much. But
yeah, just go ahead. I'm sorry.
I wasn't going to say nothing. My tongue was fighting the top of my mouth, man.
I was just going to get into the whole Texas hunting deal and why that's our first and strongest topic, and just talking about what makes Texas special and what other states are experiencing versus the state of Texas. The good thing about Texas is we got a hunting season year round. We've got obviously whitetail season, dove season, duck season like everybody else, but we also have a plethora of exotics scattered out across this country, whether it be in high fence or low fence, and that's a whole other topic on its own. And we don't care how high your fence is. We just want everybody out there hunting, doing this thing that we love to do. Good thing about Texas, no draws. We talked about this a bunch, Brandon. We've got a lot of clients that come hunt with me over the years in Mexico and South Texas that are from Utah and from Arizona, Ohio. I mean, everywhere across the country, Kansas, everywhere, that they have to come to Texas because they don't draw in their own state, which is sad. But that's a benefit to us. I don't think that'll ever change. If Texas Parks and Wildlife will stay out of that, I hope they certainly understand that the amount of dollars that it generates for this state. We have the largest economy in the nation, probably the largest hunting economy in the nation as well, without question. And, you can, any Tom, Dick, and Harry that walks on 2 feet can come across the state line and go to a Walmart or a local, feed store or outdoor store and buy an over-the-counter non-resident license and go hunt that evening. It's just that simple, just that easy.
It's crazy. We were talking about this the other day. We were in your pickup coming back from one of the ranches in Mexico, and you got a call from one of your buddies in Utah. And I knew that it was getting harder. I don't spend a bunch of time up in the Midwest and the draw states. I'm a Texas guy. I like to hunt Texas, but just like you do. But I've heard a lot of gossip. I've heard a lot of stuff going on about states changing the draws, changing the point system and all that. But I did not realize until you got that call a couple of weeks ago that you've got a group of guys that you've hunted with for many, many, many years. They're out of Utah. Damn good guys, damn good hunters. And they can't even hunt in their own state. The state they live in, the state they pay taxes in, raising children in, have businesses in. They can't even enjoy the wildlife that's there and go hunting. And they're calling you down here, begging you for anything. They don't care what it is. And again, another perk to our state, whether they want to hunt whitetail in the fall or they want to hunt pigs, which we all, they love that and everybody loves pigs, but we have the exotics as well. from access to fallow to you name it. I mean, we have species here, and not to take anything from you because I know you like to talk about it, but the scimitar oryx, the fallow buck, the axis that have done better in this state than they do in their own native country, and that says something. I mean, even look at what the Gemsbach oryx has done when they were dropped into the white sands of New Mexico. I mean, we did a Gemsbach oryx hunt this last year in New Mexico, and my God, they were freaking all over the place, and they were just as healthy as they could be. The axis buck. I mean, we've gotten to the point now where they've done so dead well that we don't have to get into the whole high fence thing. Most people in the western side are going to chime in on this, but it's because you don't know you're in from a hole in the ground. Not everything here is tied to a freaking tree and got a dog collar on it. We don't turn it loose when you get here. I mean, we just came off a hunt that I'll be honest, just to be transparent, there was a high fence there. We didn't hide it. How long did it take? We hunted our butts off for 3 days and just barely found those axes.
Got lucky.
That's
there's no way to hide it. There's no way to hide it because if a high fence is in the background during all the action, and we don't give a damn, but it's what it is. So it'll be fun to watch. So I promise you.
But you can still come to this state, and you can attest to this. There's a bunch of country here that a fella can come to that's not high fenced. They have free range black buck, free range axis. I mean, you name it. I mean, we've driven down the road, we've seen them all. But nonetheless, we are in a game rich state, and I personally did not realize how bad it had gotten up in those draw states where I couldn't imagine raising a family, paying taxes, hunting your whole life, and now you just can't hunt. I couldn't imagine being there.
On your own place, for that matter. On your own place. There's still some of them with landowner tags, but you get out west now. I mean, that landowner tag doesn't matter. And if you're in a unit, I don't remember who it was. It was Dave, I guess, when we talked to him the other day, the guy that has some of the biggest mule deer and elk in Arizona. And he can't even draw a tag to hunt his own place. And then you got to go open a gate for somebody that did draw to go hunt on your property that's in that unit. So
I couldn't imagine that.
Pretty tough to swallow.
That's the kind of stuff that get a fella peppered by a 12 gauge in this state. And you got to be willing as a landowner in that state to go, just go kill something I can't even kill on my own property.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I couldn't swallow that pill. But you brought up Dave, so let's talk about that real quick. That's another thing that is going to be a big deal, not just on the podcast, but on the show, on the digital side. We can't talk too much about it because we're about to roll something out that is going to be just mind blowing. I'm busting at the seams, but our involvement with Texas ranch sales, not just because with you as an agent and selling a bunch of stuff, but we got one heck of a deal going with, in my opinion, the best ranch sales company out there.
Yeah, and I agree. I may be a little biased, but I've also been with them, started with them, left, thought the grass was green on the other side, and realized it wasn't, and came back. So, but that what he's talking about, we're teaming up with Texas Ranch Sales. It's all but official. We're going to be doing some exciting things with them to promote farm and ranch real estate in the state of Texas. We're Texas Ranch Sales. It's in our name. We're Texas Strong. It's in our name. And I'm on both teams. So it makes an easy fit. But nonetheless, we're going to try to do some things different. We're going to have some stuff coming out. Again, like Brandon said, we don't want to really let the cat out of the bag yet, but some really, really cool stuff. We're going to feature some properties, and we're going to include our agents and all the stuff Texas Ranch Sales that is going to fall right into place with everything that we're doing, from hunting to cattle to anything that you can imagine. And it's going to be fun. Going to be informative, and hopefully we can, help fulfill the dreams of the people that are wanting to either move to this state and buy a ranch, or that are in this state and want to buy a ranch. And we're going to be that avenue, and they're dang sure going to want to do business with us when they see what all that we plan to do. So super excited about that. Dave Wilcox, my brother from another mother, is also the CEO of my boss, the Texas Ranch Sales. Brilliant fella that can sell and market and talk to anybody. We got a wide array of expertise in our deal, from guys that are in the cattle business like me. We got several of those in the hunting industry like me. There are several of those, but we've got oil and gas guys. We've got solar panel. I hate to say that word, but we've got expertise in that. We got landmen. We've got horse and equestrian stuff that's out of this world, and we've got there's somebody in our team rather that's going to have. We can find out and answer any question you need, no matter what kind of project you may have on your farm, ranch, or piece of land. So it's we're bad in the bone, and we're ready to go. And we're fitting to take it to the next level.
Well, I didn't lie, man. I'll tell you what, I don't know Dave like you do. I got to meet him for the first time the other day, but he's kind of one of them cats that you sit down with, and everybody knows what I'm talking about. You sit down with a fella, and you're like, man, this is a cool dude. That's him. It don't take you long, and I'm excited to get to know him more. I'm excited to get to work with him. You hit the nail on the head. We're about to roll something out that I think a few people have tried to do. They hadn't been able to do it. We're going to do it in a different way, and I think it's going to blow the hats off some people, and I think it's going to open the eyes of some people too, to be able to see these ranches and see things in a different way, in a different style. And we had a new toy that showed up at the office yesterday that I won't go too much in depth with, but I got it out of my hands as fast as I could into our producer's hands because I don't know what it looks like something from a space shuttle to me, but by God, is it going to look good? And that mentality, that style, that passion, that we're talking about with Texas Ranch Sales. That's with everything that we do, from the TV show to the social media to this podcast. This is going to probably be one of the only laid back, just listening to Keith and I squawking podcasts that we have. We've got a deep a guest list, I guess you could say, lined up. With those partnerships that we have, those people know a lot of people, and again, being multifaceted, we're going to talk about everything from the cattle to ranching to driving dirt roads to Texas country music to music festivals, carnivals, you name it. There's no telling what we're going to talk about. But the one thing that it's going to be inevitable is that we're going to be talking about the state of Texas.
Absolutely.
We have a lot of good stuff that's coming up, and we're going to try to be in front of your face as much as we possibly can. We've got the show that's coming out that'll air on July 1st at 7:30 p.m. It'll also get carried over into some stuff we're going into the YouTube channel. There's a whole lot of crap I want to say, but we're being restrained by production, and we're being restrained by our business manager, because I hate surprises, damn, and I just want to tell everybody it, but I know I got to keep my mouth shut.
We'll get there. We'll get there for sure. And I mean, the thing is that, you don't want to just come to market with something that's not complete and ready to go. So we're going to make sure we've done that before. We're going to dot our I's and cross our T's and make sure everything's right. Because, when we come with it, we're coming with it hard. It's going to be a weekly deal. But it's easy to talk about because it's a life that we live. So, I mean, we're not doing anything it's nothing new for us. We do this stuff every day. It's what we do for a living. It's what we do for hobbies. So it's all intertwined to the everyday life of us and a whole lot of other Texans and a whole lot of other people that want to be Texans. And, obviously that's sorry, I'm getting a text message from my mother, but anyway, this, never fails, right? Never fails.
No.
Total role reversal. Now we're raising her. She raised us. Now we're raising her. But anyway, glad to have her. Love you to death, Mom. But anyway, I mean, there's just so much opportunity here. I mean, with landowner rights and being able to do your own thing. I mean, no state income taxes. I mean, property taxes are a thing we all want to debate and argue about, and that's a whole separate podcast in itself that really I don't even give a damn about getting into. It is what it is. So, but there's just you have free reign here. I mean, it's just it's a very open state. Private landowner rights will be here, and I believe they'll be here when my great grandkids are running this podcast or whatever else they'll be doing. So it's a great state. Humble, good people. There's a bunch of pricks out here, just like there is everywhere else in the world. Hell, I might be one of them some days. But anyway, just a lot to bring to the table. I mean, we were talking about this earlier, Brandon, about the state of Texas and how different it is just as far as the vast terrain that we have. We go from East Texas piney woods to the coastal plains of Texas. It's all along the coast, down to the Rio Grande Valley, up through the brush country, the hill country, which is a highly sought after place, and then central Texas rolling hills where we are here, out to the high plains and panhandle and Trans-Pecos. We got it all. And we've got, throughout that, we've got every species of wildlife and every breed and species of cattle that you can think of as well, along with some things that people wouldn't believe that Texas actually has, because there's some parts of this country in Texas that has been untapped. And, we're working on a deal like we talked about, Brandon, up in the kind of the high plains there. That is going to be a fantastic ranch. We hope to get a part of. So we won't. We can't. We haven't got it done yet. I believe we will, but it's just going to be good, man. There's just so much untapped territory and untapped potential of this state. So many hidden secrets and things that people don't know that there is to offer here in Texas. And I think you've mentioned the weather before, Brandon. How were you talking about that weather?
Bipolar, God Almighty! I'm telling you, it's 90 degrees today. It's liable to snow tomorrow. I'm telling you, it's insane. Well, that doesn't even bring up to the point of what was it you told me the other day? You've had 50 something inches of rain since April.
Almost 50. It's 40. It's 45 plus. Let me say that. And then now we got a tropical storm run in the Gulf. This looks like it's going to come right dead center over top all of us again. So yeah,
what's that doing? So how are you? I mean, I know you got a bunch of cattle all over the place, but like particularly at home, especially you've got that big creek or river back there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was there. I went to Grossbeck with you 2 days ago. And I mean, that water's coming up. I mean, what are you doing? How are you adapting to that? I mean, you got to be moving those cattle every day, don't you?
We're moving them. We're feeding them. I've got about 125 heifers standing on about 150 acres. So I mean, we're about out of grass in that one pasture, obviously. And I got a big bottom that I can't even use because it's flooded or was flooded, and the fences are all washed out. And it's so dang wet we can't get down there to fix them. So I mean, that's just a day in the life of Texas weather, like you're talking about. But we've had over 45 inches of rain since April the 1st, right here from Dallas down through central Texas. I live in Groesbeck, and we've seemed to have gotten probably the most is in this remote area right here where we're at. We've just been pounded, and we certainly praise God for bringing that to us. And we're not complaining about it because here in about another 30, 45 days, we're going to be begging for it. But just wish we could figure out how to spread it out a little bit more. So
yeah, you're flooded. And then I was talking to Herschel Hitman Hoover the other day. And South Texas, man, it's drier than a popcorn fart down there. A lot of that stuff we've got out west is dry too. But you're talking right there at home. I mean, you're going to have to convert to putting floaties on all your cattle just to keep them from drowning. I mean, it's insane, but that's Texas. Yeah. And you're right. We're going to complain right now about the rain, but here in about 30 days, we'll be begging for it. And so, we're going to complain about one thing, complain about another. We're all going to complain no matter. It's just how it is.
It's just life and human nature, unfortunately, but we're sure blessed to have it and not complaining too bad yet.
Yeah, because we've gone through years where we didn't get anything. I mean, you're talking cracks in the ground big enough to lose a go-kart in. I mean, where I'm sure they're on the cattle side of things. I mean, you're taking a risk of cattle, their feet falling in it and breaking legs and stuff like that. I mean, now it's just, and I'm sure it's happened to you guys. But we love the rain because we know that those types of years that antlers are going to be good. I'm sure it helps with the cattle and the calves and that's your expertise, not mine by any means. But I'm excited to talk about that and excited to talk about those things. That's the diversity about what we want to do. We talked earlier about a real touchy subject, which is and we'll get into it when we start doing some of the Texas Grazing Land Coalition stuff. But the bond that needs to take place between cattlemen and hunters, and how a lot of times they don't work well together. They butt heads and they fight. And if I hope we can bring a little insight and just a little awareness to guys out there about how much you truly do lose as a deer hunter when you do not graze a piece of property the right way. Cattle are a vital necessity to any wildlife management plan. They should be. If they're not, you definitely need to be integrating that, and we'll talk about that. But they all go hand in hand. We've got property that's not grazed at all, and good luck hunting it. To property that's grazed properly, and that you can see the herds, how they thrive and how it's working well. And when the browse lines raised to the proper level and the grasses are eating down and those hooves are turning over the seed bank and good forbs are coming up and, good weeds are popping through, those deer are pot bellied and fat but again, I can get off on a tangent on that, but those are the types of things we're going to talk about. Those are the types of things we're going to dive into.
The grand misconception of most people is they think that deer and cattle compete for the same for the same food, and they don't.
Yeah,
The
good tip.
cattle's a grazer; they eating grass and whatever they can get their hands on, and deer's and browsers. So I mean,
Yep.
it's
Well, I think
it's
it comes. I think it comes strictly from a lot of people say, "Oh, well, they're both ruminants." Yes, they are both ruminants, but
Yep.
they do not feed the same way.
Right.
And just like you said, those grasses that the deer don't eat is what the cattle will eat. Those weeds and those browse that the cows won't eat, that's what the deer eat.
Mm-hmm.
And so they do play a very vital role into it. I hope that maybe we just planted enough seeds to get somebody thinking. And by God, if you're froggy enough to start commenting on our stuff and following our social media, and you really want to hear about it bad enough, we will move that to the forefront of this podcast, because I promise you that is one thing that both of us will gladly talk about very quickly. We love it. It's what makes the blood flow. I mean, truth be told, there's a lot of our income that comes from those two topics right then and right there. But you froggy enough to jump on social media and let us know, by God, we'll appease you. I promise you that. But that's just one facet of it. That's one facet of it that we're gonna dive into. And we got some really cool stuff lined up. I'm excited about it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, don't forget, I know this was short and sweet, and that's what it was meant to be. We just wanted to kind of let you know who we were, what we are, what we do, and what we represent. But Texas Strong right there, baby, right there on KeySat, right there on mine. We're on all social media platforms. We're on YouTube. The show airs, like I said, July 1st at 7:30 p.m. on the Pursuit channel. We'll be on Pursuit Up as well. But we're very, very active on social media. We're very reachable. Don't hesitate one second to let us know, what is it you want to hear? What would you like to, what is it that people are not talking about in this state? What do you want to know more about? Well, it doesn't have to just be hunting. It can be anything. I don't care. You want to talk about Texas country music? By God, we'll figure it out. I am not afraid to play Randy Rogers Band and have a conversation.
For sure. Like you said, though, right there, Texas Strong. Go like and share with all your people, and hook up with us and join us on this journey, because we're about to roll and have a good time.
That's right. It's a movement, baby. And we are moving, and we want you on board. We appreciate you, Big Daddy. Unless you got anything, adios on my end.
I'm good, brother. I'm good. I'm just ready to rock. So adios here too. Viva Texas, baby.
Let's go. We'll see you weekly.